for us.
Still to come, Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park reopens for commercial business as adults can now access the park for 25 Ghana cedis.
See, we have new facilities in the park, and we are all saying we need to maintain it. We need money to maintain it. So if we don't put these measures in place, then it will be very difficult for us to maintain.
Still to come, environmental health officers conduct fumigation at Emina Cemetery amid protests against developers' actions.
To prevent escalation of maybe if there's any outbreak, that's why we have come to spray the place. So it's within the cemetery. Because if we want to say we can spray all the houses, we cannot.
In CNR Business. Over 400 suspects arrested in crackdown on loan app operations as Cybersecurity Committee takes action over illegal activities. Let's bring you details of our stories. We'll start with Parliament and the courts because the Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachikwaison's application for a stay of proceedings has been dismissed by the court. However, lead counsel Chachu Chikata has announced the intention to file an application with the Court of Appeal seeking a stay of proceedings. We have more on this report.
The High Court in Accra on Tuesday rejected arguments raised by lawyers of James Jachikwaison in support of the application for stay of proceedings. The lawyers filed a motion pending the determination of an appeal against the decision of the court to try the matter on day-to-day basis. Led by Chachu Chikata, lawyers for the accused argued that the trial judge erred when she made the ruling. According to them, the decision is in violation of Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution, which limits the exercise of discretionary powers. He further argued that Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame and President Akufo-Addo had made extremely prejudicial comments that may affect the fair adjudication of the matter. The lawyers also argued that any decision by the trial judge not to stay proceedings until the final determination of the matter at the Court of Appeal will be prejudging the appeal and a breach of their client's rights to fair trial. Mr. Chikata was insistent on how this was a breach on fair trial rules and argued that the grounds warranted exceptional circumstances to merit the granting of the application for stay of proceedings. The state, however, opposed the application on grounds that the decision being appealed was for the daily trial to take place from June 20 to June 23. And considering the fact that the application was filed on June 27, the process was unnecessary. Attorney General Godfred Yeboah-Dame also debunked allegations of prejudicial statements made by himself and the president. The judge, after considering the arguments, however, dismissed the application. The trial judge indicated that granting of stay of proceedings applications is purely a discretionary matter. According to the judge, the court may be convinced to grant such an application if the applicant is able to show exceptional circumstances to warrant the grant of the application. The judge, however, ruled that the case does not present any exceptional circumstances to grant the application for stay of proceedings. She stated that there is no irreparable damage to be suffered by Jachikwaison by the refusal of the application. Based on these, the application was dismissed. Lawyer for James Jachikwaison, however, in court, hinted of plans to go to the Court of Appeal to stay proceedings. Chachikata therefore requested for a favorable adjournment to allow them file the relevant processes. As a result of this, the court adjourned the case to July 14 for trial to continue. The proceedings were witnessed by some minority members of parliament who boycotted activities of the House in solidarity with their colleague. The NDC's head of legal affairs, Abraham Amaliba, addressed the media after proceedings.
The judge gave the ruling but refused our application. The judge said that there was no special circumstances warranting her to stay the proceedings. We are disappointed. We are dissatisfied. We intend to repeat the application at the Court of Appeal, where we expect a favorable result. As a result of that, we ask the court to enable us file the appeal at the Court of Appeal, the stay of proceeding at the Court of Appeal. That was granted, and so we are back to this court on Friday for the continuation. But what is important is that we are repeating the application at the Court of Appeal because we are dissatisfied.
Meanwhile, the state, which is impugning some foul play by lawyers of the accused, say they are ready for any tactics to be deployed. Alfred Chianyeboa is Deputy Attorney General.
If you are in court and the matter is being heard in court, it is expected that the matter should be heard. But if you want to deploy delay tactics, there is a point that you can go. You may want to appeal, which will not be gradual, but your filing of a process at the Court of Appeal will not stay the proceedings in the High Court. So we are also now saying that on Friday, the matter is going to continue unless something happens.
Is your first witness ready?
Our first witness has been in court. He's been cross-examined for over 1.5 hours. They have about 30 minutes or so to finish the cross-examination of our first witness. On Friday, when we come, he's going to testify. He's going to be in the box for them to finish up the cross-examination if it's within the remit of the court on Friday.
It appears this will not be the last we'll be hearing of this application to stay proceedings, as lawyer for James Gyakye Quayson has given indication of applying to the Court of Appeal for a stay of proceedings. Meanwhile, prosecution is saying that regardless of any of these applications, they will continue with the prosecution. Reporting for Citi News, Hansen Acheman.
Meanwhile, the minority in Parliament asked for the second time boycotted sittings in Parliament due to the trial of the Asin North Member of Parliament, James Gyakye Quayson. The High Court on Tuesday delivered a ruling on the application for stay of proceedings in the case involving the legislator. Now, lawyers for the embattled MP have moved an application for the court to stay proceedings to allow for the Court of Appeal to hear its appeal to review a decision by the trial judge to hear the case on daily basis. Now, due to this, the minority caucus abandoned parliamentary proceedings to accompany its member to the court.
The minority in Parliament on Tuesday boycotted for the second time parliamentary business to accompany James Gyakye Quayson, who is facing trial at the court. This was left with less than 10 of the majority MPs in the chamber. The second Deputy Speaker, Andrew Amwakwesiama, had to suspend sitting for 15 minutes to allow more of the majority MPs to come into the chamber for business to continue. Speaking to journalists, the Member of Parliament for Kankwe Central, Patrick Yaubuama, appealed to the minority to reconsider their decision.
You all know the contribution of the minority when it comes to the business on the floor. It's a very important caucus in our parliamentary business. So any decision by the minority not to participate actively in the business of the House would definitely affect proceedings. It's a very unfortunate situation that we are going through, but the minority is exercising their rights under the laws to go and solidarize with our colleague, Honorable Quayson, who was sworn in a week ago. I want to entreat the minority to reconsider their decision because Honorable Kwesi is duly represented by very experienced lawyers who can fight his case for him. It's very important that we also get measured with what we do with regards to our responsibilities as members of parliament. And as duty demands of us, we ought to be in the chamber to represent the people who voted for us. Yes, you can show solidarity, but you should not forget about your responsibility as a member of parliament.
Before they preferred charges against some of our colleagues, knew that as MPs, they have a mandate here. But if you consider the fact that the hearing dates sometimes conflict with parliamentary business, you'd want to ask the question, were they not mindful of the fact that the people they were charging are members of parliament? Or at least, did they not find it necessary to at least stagger the court hearings so that the hearings would not conflict with parliamentary business? Did they not think about that? And so if my good friend, Honorable Patrick Boama, comes out to say we should nominate just a few of us to accompany our colleagues to the courts and allow the rest of us to stay here and do business, I think that statement marks of double standards, because they are the ones, it is his government which has brought all this about. And so we're saying that we would stand solidly behind our colleagues. We shall solidarize with them anytime they are going to court. They should make space for us, or at least stagger the hearing times so that court hearings do not interfere with parliamentary business. But if you think that our presence here is not necessary, you can fix court dates to conflict with parliamentary business, we would all go there and support our colleagues. It's as simple as that.
In an interaction with journalists, the Minister of Interior, Ambrose Derry, denied rumors in a leaked tape which suggests that government aims at removing from office the Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, as part of plans to rig the upcoming general elections.
Now, I think that we've come a long way, haven't we? At a certain stage, people were thinking that, we couldn't trust the police. But now you see, you feel the presence of police. And I think the last election that came, at least our friends on the other side said they have confidence in the police and have confidence in the EC. I think we're making progress, are we not? And so that's how I see it. But as far as the IGP is concerned, he's for operational matters, and I haven't found anything that he's done that has contradicted that. I can assure you that I serve a president who is committed and has respect for human rights. And Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we will make sure 2024 is peaceful. And for those theories about, we can imagine things. We have rich imaginations to go on. One thing is certain, 2024 would not be a violent election by anybody, and no one will want to thwart the will of the people. If you vote us in, you vote us in. If you vote us out, you vote us out. And we've shown that before. The difference with which we handed over power in 2009 was so impressive that the then president of the U.S. came here.
However, the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, James Agaga, says government must thoroughly investigate the leaked tape.
If it is indeed true that it is a DCOP or whatever, I don't know what his rank is, Alex Mensah is the one behind, or who actually spoke to some of his people, and this thing has now leaked, I think he needs to be investigated and dealt with in accordance with law, because there are machinations aimed at what? Subverting the will of the people. Until now, I have never known that we have NDC IGPs, MPP IGPs. I've never known that. And if it is the authenticity of that audio is established, then he must be charged. His actions the actions of the one behind that audio, for me, passes for treason.
The House also debated on the Narcotics Control Commission Amendments Act, which seeks to allow for the cultivation of cannabis for industrial and medicinal purposes.
The new policy of the narcotics: 1, the value as medicinal; 2, the value as industrial, which is going to provide, the second reading I'll show, employment; and the value as economic, which is the trend of the world at this stage. There is the agency to consider this amendment and make sure that Ghana is not left out with this movement of the whole world, which promise to have the medicinal value of it. To be dealt with. Cannabis that people use. Portions of the water region, the content could go as high as 3% THC, and that certainly cannot be the subject matter here. People assume that what we have done opens the sluice gate for the cultivation of the regular cannabis. It has nothing to do with that. It is really to encourage the cultivation of jute. Of course, for medicinal purposes, some cannabis could be grown. But in that case, you require the certificate or license by the minister to be able to do that. Mr. Speaker, when we come there, we all do appreciate that strictures and strict procedures and structures will have to be put in place to guide and guard the cultivation of those medicinal cannabis.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okain for Citi News.
Now, following recent comments and threats that have escalated tensions between some tribes in the northern region and beyond, a government delegation led by the National Security Minister has visited the overlord of Dagbon, Yana, to assure him and discuss strategies to prevent any potential conflict. Now, on Sunday evening, reports emerged of residents of Sonson in the Yendi municipality abandoning the community out of fear of an attack. Tensions are currently running high in the northern region, and there are concerns about a potential outbreak.
For 2 months now, rumors of a tribal war between the Dagombes and Konkombe tribes have circulated in the northern region. Various statements have been released on social media. The situation came from someone claiming to be the Konkomba Basari chief in Tema, Greater Accra region. This time of the year is crucial for farming, and everyone in the northern region is actively engaged in agricultural activities. However, this week, both Dagombes and Konkombes are worried about the escalating comments. Even teachers working in communities are afraid and have stayed away from work. To address this issue, a government delegation led by the National Security Minister, Honorable Kandapa, paid a courtesy visit to the overlord of Dagombes. The overlord of the government committee is optimistic that the long-standing peaceful coexistence between the two tribes will prevail to prevent any mishaps. He emphasized that poverty is the common enemy that must be fought. Here is Zangbalong Lana Dr. Yakubu reading the speech on behalf of the overlord. Yana urged the minister to take swift action against the individuals spreading discord on social media.
Not that the Gombes or the Konkombes are happy about what is happening. Nobody needs a war in which there will be no winners. We will all be the losers. The Dagbang and the North region are for all of us, those who hail from the region and those from other regions and live in West. We make no distinction. Illiteracy, malnutrition, maternal and child mortalities. We need to direct our livelihood. Though we cannot downplay the importance of this meeting, but it would have been totally uncalled for if we did what we promised to do. We and the Honorable Defense Minister and most of you have tread this path before and resolved to take certain actions, including the apprehension of certain persons operating the social media handles spewing out hate speech. We renege on our promises.
The Defense Minister, Honorable Dominic Nituol, assured the Yana of government determination to deal with anyone seeking to instigate trouble. He reiterated the Konkomba, Dagomba tribes have a long history of peaceful coexistence and emphasized that no member of either tribe is willing to engage in conflicts.
Please help us. If you help us, and I said at the Konkombaya convention, and then that's why people were insulting me. I said the gentleman called John Jagri is the greatest enemy to Konkombes. I said it there. That's the statement I made. I don't know whether he was there or not. I think 30 minutes after that, he said, yes, I'm happy the defense minister mentioned my name. I'm 27 years and I was standing looking at him. I want to beg anybody, whether you are a Konkomba or you are a Dagomba, a Nanumba, Frafra, if you know that John Jagri man, I beg you. I'm kneeling down begging you. Please, help us and let's identify and arrest those people. Diana, I want to again assure you, and you yourself said it, that Konkombes and the Gombes will not fight today and will not fight tomorrow.
In his remarks, the National Security Minister, Honorable Kandapa, called for a dialogue between the two tribes. He emphasized that through dialogue, all differences can be addressed and resolved.
That one thing that we have done, and which, as a government, we are very proud of, is the peace that we have found in Dagbon. Thanks to the people of Dagbon, who agreed that all differences would be settled and we were given this high position. We've always been very, very proud of your achievements, and indeed when we go out to other places to speak, when there are ethnic conflicts in other places, we mention you and we mention Dagomba and ask them to learn from what you have done. We tell them that war, fighting with your hands, with your legs, will never solve the problem. The problem can only be solved if we sit down and talk.
The delegation also traveled to Saboba to meet with the Konkomba faction.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom with me, Vivian Kai. Local still to come. Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park reopens for commercial business as adults can now access the park for 25 Ghana cedis. To stay with us, we'll be right back with our story and many others.
Today he has been extra sweet, and the way he looks at me.
I have done everything by the book. It's on. Hey, but I have to get some condoms, Charlie.
Using a condom will protect you and your partner from HIV, STIs, and unplanned pregnancy. Condoms are an effective way for protection against HIV infection. Don't take risks. Use a condom every time. Always come prepared.
This advert is brought to you by the Ghana AIDS Commission and Ghana Health Service.
Yes, we are back. Wines of South Africa, Vossa, is back in Ghana for the biggest wine show ever. Date, Saturday, 15th July at the Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Time, 7 p.m. sharp. Wines of South Africa Grand Tasting Event 2023 is proudly brought to you by Wines of South Africa and John Williams Consults Ghana. This event is sponsored by Ghana Export Promotion Authority and Best National Bank. Partners, South African High Commission, Accra, South African Airways, and Labadi Beach Hotel. Media partners, AmayalDebra.com, Citi FM, Citi TV, Voyage Afrique Magazine, and Ovation Magazine. Don't miss out on this extraordinary event by securing your tickets now at bossa2023.eventbrite.com or call 0553-271-032. Remember to come celebrate with Wines of South Africa, Saturday, 15th July 2023, 7 p.m. at Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Wines of South Africa, welcome to our world of discovery. Strictly by invitation and reserved for 18 years and above.
You're welcome back to the City Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai. Local non-environmental health officers from the Forikro Municipal Assembly in the Ashanti region have carried out a fumigation exercise at the Emina Cemetery. This comes after some residents in the area over the weekend took to the streets in protest against the destruction of the community cemetery by a developer. City News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani reports.
The intervention, according to authorities, was to allay fears after concerns of environmental and health impact emerged due to the exposure of bodies at the cemetery. A developer who owns a house adjacent to the cemetery reportedly graded the land to gain access to her property. Environmental health officers said the fumigation was done to prevent a possible outbreak of diseases in the area.
It's a burial ground and every person is buried here, and then people die of sicknesses. We don't know the type of sicknesses that have killed a lot of people that they have buried here. So to prevent escalation of maybe if there's any outbreak, that's why we have come to spray the place. It's within the cemetery, because if we want to say we can spray all the houses, we cannot. So it's within the cemetery. Time to come, we'll come back again and then continue with the spraying again. We won't do it once. We'll come back again and spray. People are not even supposed to build at the cemetery. All the land they have built is the cemetery. But I don't know how they got the land and built here. They are not supposed to build there. So we advise that they shouldn't, when they are acquiring a land, they should ask further. They should question about the land they are buying, so that they will not go and buy a land that belongs to the cemetery.
Although some of the graves have been covered, residents want authorities to cover the rest of the open graves. Assembly member for the Bwedi, Emina Apiedu and Kokobin electoral area, Kenneth Owusu-Bediakun, assures the assembly will work to cover the graves.
First thing that needed to be done was the fumigation. Once it has been done, arrangement is being made by the assembly to get extra sand to ensure that graves that are yet open are covered, to ensure that nothing befalls the area. I sincerely bear with whatever pains they are going through, but as the issue is now in the hands of the security agencies, I will plead with them to calm down so that the security agencies takes up the matter and ensure that it gets to its direct conclusion. So they should give peace a chance to reign within Emina so that we can all live as one people.
Residents are appealing for interventions to resolve chieftaincy issues in the area.
There are so many developmental projects going on over here because there's no king, there was no policy which will go in the betterment of Emina. You see, they are doing filling station over here. They just sold the land to that person just to come and do his work. But what are the policies? If we were having a king, all these things wouldn't have happened.
Kuman, me catch up, say, Ubia and Fam Ranch and Sim. Na, Utu for, and I make me board. Oberhen was easy, as Sem. And when you can't say, Yamramu and Kuntoka. Na, ye a yena, ye ba, now I hear, no CC as Sem, Nadia Kunya one on what the amano. It more beer and ye did, more beer and Yabasbasa.
Inti Nunkura Netirino, Yasrena Nasana Daruma, a fadia, one way. Na asembia edamena krodu emiano wonka na kro no asomdwene ahotomrem na wono a wonyi obi a obetimi aboa kro no aya obeya wohenama ye no wonyi ne mayen.
The youth in the community are being urged to remain calm as authorities take steps to resolve the matter.
Environmental health officers are raising concerns about how people are building close to cemeteries, but residents here at Emina want authorities to ensure there's a lasting solution to this issue. Hafiz Tijani, Citi News, Emina, Ashanti Region.
Now, for 25 Ghana cedis, Ghanaian adults can have access to the all-new Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. The mausoleum house on the remains of Ghana's first president reopened for commercial business on June 11 after a 30 million Ghana cedi redevelopment. We have more on this report.
The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is one of Ghana's most significant monuments. The mausoleum was first established in 1990 to house the mortal remains of Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. For years, the mausoleum had not received a significant facelift befitting of the resting place of the man regarded as one of the greatest African leaders. But after 30 million Ghana cedis was injected into redeveloping the park, it has been reopened to the public. Edward Kwao is the acting director of the park.
You see, we have new facilities in the park, and we are all saying we need to maintain it. We need money to maintain it. So if we don't put these measures in place, then it will be very difficult for us to maintain. I think that if it's about time, we also invest in our site as well and promote it as Ghanaians. We want to see more Ghanaians coming here than foreigners. So we think that if we plan for it, we should be able to visit this facility at this rate, yeah.
If you charge lower fees, more Ghanaians will be able to patronize.
I don't think it's too expensive for Ghanaians to come. They would come. Few people I've spoken to have called me. I'm cool with it.
This Ghanaian resident in Australia was excited that her children could experience a part of Ghana's political history through the park.
I was born here and I left 17 years. Now I'm just brought my children to see where their ancestors from and where I'm from. I am blown out. I think when I left, it wasn't like this. And to see it established and the way they have made it, Ghana is the key for the rest of the African country. And this is what is going to make us the best in all. We have gone round and see all the grounds, the burial grounds and everything. And yeah, it's beautiful right now. It's beautiful. The system is incredible.
Although the first day did not realize the huge numbers anticipated, there were some foreigners who had come to catch a glimpse of the newly refurbished Kwame Nkrumah Mausoleum.
I'm very excited. I also, before I got here, I read a book about Ghana and the history, and I really want to learn a lot about it. I expect to see a lot about the independence wars and about the people who were important for the independence, and I hope I can learn a lot.
The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is now officially open to commercial business. The general public are invited to come and experience everything they've heard and read in books about Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, one of the leaders of the African struggle for independence. My name is Charles Osukumi. I've been reporting for Citi News.
Let's do some politics and let's go to the MPP because on Tuesday it opened nominations for persons seeking to contest parliamentary seats in its orphan constituencies. The party says eligible aspirants must pick nomination forms at the constituency offices at a fee of 3,000 cedis. In all, the party will have to elect parliamentary candidates in 137 constituencies before the close of the year. Citi News' Samiri Afe visited some of those constituencies here in Accra and filed this report.
The first port of call for the news team was the Blekuma Central constituency, which has Latebio Kochi, Mateko, Abosokai, among others, as its electoral area. Party administrator James Owusu says none of the 6 aspirants have showed up to pick up forms. The 6 individuals include Jefferson Kwame Nasaki, a deputy director of communications at the Jubilee House, and former MP for the area, Ebenezer Nete, who is staging a comeback after losing the seat to the NDC's Dan Abdul Latif in the 2020 election. Businessman Collins Amwa is also in the race, hoping to cause an upset. In the Ododo-Dio constituency, 2 people have declared interest in contesting the polls. Former parliamentary candidate for the 2016 and 2020 election, Nilante Banaman, has shown interest in appearing on the ballot again for the party. He's been challenged by party activist Abdul Manaf Ajay-Sowa. A visit to the party office shows no activity, with party officers sitting idle waiting for the aspirants. The Lejokuku constituency, considered a swing one, will have 5 people battling it out to represent the party in the 2024 election. Former MP and current CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Bernardo Koboy, will stage a comeback to recapture the seat he lost to Benjamin Nete Ayuku of the NDC in the 2020 election. Though he is yet to pick forms, he will have to beat competition from 4 others, including presidential staffer and one of the leaders of the Let My Vote Count Alliance, Ibrahim Ejay. The others are Clifford Mate Kole, Marcus Olin, and Ni Ashite Olenu. The final constituency visited by the Citi News team was the Okankwe North constituency. The office, which was under lock and key, has seen no activity for days. Already, 7 people have declared interest in contesting the seat on the party's ticket. Former MP for the area, Issa Fuseni, who lost the seat to the NDC's Teresa Awuni in the 2020 election, wants to redeem himself in the December 2024 election, but he must battle it out with the current MP for the Equiapem North constituency, Nana Ahmad Dokua Isiama Eje, who is switching constituencies ahead of the 2024 election. Journalist and editor of the Searchlight newspaper, Ken Krache, will also contest again after a failed attempt in 2014.
You're still watching the Citi Newsroom with me, Vivian Ka-Eloko. When we come back, NPP flag bearer hopeful Kwabena Ejapong charges party delegates to choose new direction for the party away from those he describes as responsible for the country's current economic woes. Stay with us. We'll be right back with our story and others.
Anyone can become a household.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anywhere, and win. Flip it or own it. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
And you're welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Now, NPP flag bearer hopeful Kwabena Chepon has charged party delegates to choose a new direction for the party away from those he describes as responsible for the country's current economic predicament. Kwabena Chepon was speaking at the launch of his New Dawn campaign on Tuesday. We have more in this report.
The New Patriotic Party finished vetting of its presidential hopefuls last week, and even before details of the vetting report are made public, Kwabena Chepon, one of the aspirants, has launched his campaign in Accra. Before Kwabena Chepon mounted the podium, a leading member of the NPP, Kwame Pianim, praised Mr. Chepon for his contributions towards the party.
In order to take Ghana into a new era, all of us as elders of the party encourage as many people as possible to present their visions and their ideas for helping our party to move forward. Political parties are instruments for grooming young people, for building a party, for leadership in the country. They are very, very important. The sacrifices that were made by Bafo Akutu, Eji Dombo, Eji Anto, Aram Bonsan, Daruja, Peter Lajiti, Apiaminka, Gladys Asman. Now we are looking for people to take their place. Of all the 10 people who have registered their interest in leading this party, to sacrifice for this party, each one of them is eminently qualified and competent to lead this country. We as elders encourage as many people as possible. It's like the blind men who were looking at the elephant and trying to describe the elephant. From our family of NPP, people see the elephant from different perspectives. We encourage these people to go out. It's when your flag bearers, those competing for it, go out into the nation and address different aspects from the length and breadth of the country. That's when they energize the party base. And today, I'm here because I encourage all of them, and I'm encouraging Kwabena Chepon because he has worked for the party, he has suffered for the party, but that's no reason for him to be the flag bearer. It's for him to go around and tell you what he wants to be able to do. I can tell you that Kwabena Chepon suffered personally. When as a teenager, his father was plucked away from the family home and slaughtered. He could have gone away, stopped going to school, started doing drugs, and be wandering around that the state should look after him. No, he persevered. He went to school. And now we have an engineer.
Kwabena Chepon is seeking to lead the NPP after 3 previously failed attempts. Mr. Chepon, who was suspended by the party as General Secretary in 2015 for constitutional breaches, says he represents a new direction for the NPP.
That we're breaking dependency on the Western donor agencies. The slogan, Ghana Beyond Aid, rang from the Jubilee House with intensity and vigor. But today, we lie on a stretcher before the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and Ghana has become, in the eyes of many, a case study of how not to do it. It is true. Skyrocketed to 54%. And in fact, food inflation hitting the roof. And our city only just slightly recovering after a wild tailspin last year. These are stark signals of economic distress, and we cannot hide these facts. We've had to endure a painful debt exchange program with our pensioners laying siege at the finance ministry. Our party, the NPP, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state. I want to repeat myself. Our party, the NPP, therefore, cannot afford to put forward those who led us to this state and expect Ghanaians to embrace them during the 2024 election.
Kwabena Agyapong also spoke of his vision for the country.
1. A lean, wholly downsized government. One that works efficiently, effectively to deliver to the aspirations and expectations of the Ghanaian people. The ministries will be reconfigured to align with the constitutional cap of 19 cabinet, to be assisted by an equal number of deputies, in addition to the 16 in the regions, making up a team of 54. Stakeholder consultations will be undertaken to introduce an upper limit of 9 judges on our Supreme Court and possibly remove the retirement age of 70 and allow Supreme Court judges to serve until they are unable to perform their functions.
Even before the NPP makes public the outcome of the vetting process for the flag bearer hopefuls, Mr. Kwabena Agyapong has formally today launched his campaign. He has put out a few ideas that he wants to implement if he becomes president of Ghana. He has also invited his fellow contestants to a debate so that the delegates can elect the best person for the NPP. My name is Charles Osukumi. I've been reporting for Citi News.
Now, in a groundbreaking achievement, the EP College of Education in Bimbilla celebrated the graduation of its first batch of degree teachers. Well, with a total of 362 graduates, this marks a significant milestone for the college, which has recently transformed into a degree awarding institute in affiliation with the University of Cape Coast. Now, among the graduates, 16 individuals comprising 15 males and 1 female achieved first-class honors. These teachers have been encouraged to become catalysts for change within their communities as they embark on their professional careers. Now, Northern Regional Correspondent Mohammed Aminu M. Alabera brings us the full report.
Established in 1960 by the EP Church of Ghana, the Bimbilla EP College of Education initially focused on training teachers with Set A qualifications. Throughout the years, the college has successfully educated thousands of teachers who currently serve in classrooms nationwide. However, a momentous transition occurred in 2019 when the college was upgraded to a degree awarding institute in affiliation with the University of Cape Coast. As a result, it has now produced 362 graduates holding degree qualifications in teaching. The theme of the graduation ceremony was Saving the Youth of Ghana from the Shackles of Drugs, the Role of the Teacher Trainee. During the ceremony, Dr. James Grundo, the principal of the college, passionately appealed for support to address these pressing issues.
Our infrastructure is very, very distressed. And yet the number of qualified applicants has significantly grown, whom we cannot absorb because we are very needy in terms of our facilities. We need lecture halls. as well as student and staff accommodation alike. We need a library and some sporting facilities. It is sad, ladies and gentlemen, that programs which require that students gather as we are today, in this moment, we find it very, very difficult to do that.
The guest speaker at the graduation ceremony and alumnus of the college echoed the principal's admonishment to the graduates and called upon them to serve as ambassadors for the institution. He expressed his worry regarding the continuous use of the dining hall as both a dining hall area and an ensemble, emphasizing the need for government and alumni intervention.
We are of age to have a befitting auditorium. If you look at colleges of education in Ghana, EP College of Education is one of the oldest. And using our dining hall as an improvised auditorium is long overdue. We need to change. So my senior brother, Honorable Abdullah Yakubu, I urge you and I appeal to you to try as much as possible to let us have a befitting auditorium before.
You're still watching the City Newsroom. My name is Vivian Kai Loko. Up next is CNR Business with Nashika Caesar.
Hello and welcome to CNR Business. My name is Nashika Caesar. To our first story, over 420 suspects engaged in loan-up operations have been arrested. The Cybersecurity Authority, in partnership with the Bank of Ghana and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, launched a swoop as part of a combined cybersecurity committee operation, which resulted in the arrest of suspects. The joint operation involved a raid of the premises of some suspected operators of digital lending apps, that's loan apps located in the Greater Accra region. The operators of these apps engage in cyberbullying, extortion, and data privacy misuse. In the worst-case scenario, death threats. This comes at a time when there have been multiple instances of some online loan reporters engaging in debt shaming of defaulters. Now, management team of the Ghana Trade Fair Company Limited is committed to converting the Trade Fair Center into a leading trading hub in West Africa. Over the next 5 years, it aims to complete a project that would host the African Continental Free Trade Area after Secretariat, as well as other top-notch facilities. There's more in the following report by Edna Agnes Abwachi.
What started as a post-independence project to boost trade and industrialization in Ghana is now set to become a profitable and well-resourced institution. The Trade Fair Center, which spans an impressive 236 acres, has long been in a state of disrepair, with many of its pavilions and facilities falling into disuse. However, the Ghana Trade Fair Company Limited has announced an ambitious plan to revitalize the site after it was demolished.
We will also develop amusement facilities, commercial and residential properties on site. Last but not least, we will house the Africa Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Area. We are building our main convention and exhibition facilities here on site. So the next 3 to 5 years, that is our goal. We have plans to build a hotel on site so that when you come to a convention or when you come to an exhibition, you have somewhere that you can sleep on site. You don't have to drive 3-4 miles looking for accommodation and then coming back to your convention every morning. So a hotel is part of the project. We also plan to develop a retail enclave, so a retail mall, a made in Ghana pavilion, somewhere that when you come to an exhibition you can shop.
The The center, which will be referred to as the Trade and Expo City, will be a modern and well-equipped facility, leveraging Ghana's global market potential. Following the development of the horizontal infrastructure, the management of the company will initiate the processes of selecting investors to develop various lots through open competitive bidding.
We hope to develop a well-planned mixed-use enclave that can run virtually 24 hours, if not 7 days a week. It can run. The way the project is laid out, we went with a serviced lot approach. What that means is that you, the investor, when you come on board, you don't need to worry about where the water is, where the power is, where your fiber cables are, where the road and sewage are. We will put that in, and it will service the entire yard. So all you need to do is come in and tap into what we are doing here and just build your hotel or your mall or any investments that you put on board.
Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta said the redevelopment presents a unique opportunity for Ghana to solidify its position as a regional economic powerhouse.
AFCFTA happens to be here, which for me is the economic emancipation that is necessarily the next drive for this whole issue of where Africa should be. The third leg, of course, has to be our spiritual reckoning. So let's situate ourselves then in understanding this tripod in which Ghana, as small as we are, led political independence, and we are then destined to lead the economic emancipation, situating AFCFTA.
That's all for CNR Business. My name is Nashika Caesar.
Well, that's it for today's edition of the Citi Newsroom. Before we go, let's give you an idea of some of our big stories today. Court dismisses James Jachikwe